and everything, that we want to make sure that we get the message across and give some people some interaction, but also make sure that we stay on track. And I'm excited because, am I frozen?
No.
Did I freeze?
No.
Oh, good. I was like, the glory of internet in Austin. You think we're a tech mecca, and we're not. So I think what's really cool is we do have some new people on this one. And so what we're just doing is connecting people and keeping everyone positive and talking about business pivots or nonprofit pivots and giving us an excuse to get together while social distancing. So Laila Scott, who is the founder of Pop-Up Birthday, which she'll share a little bit more about Pop-Up with you in a minute, is someone that I admire and enjoy a great deal. We served on the Foster Angels of Central Texas board together, which Tanya is the executive director of, and Holly has, the other Holly, has strong ties to as well. While we were on that board together is when she came up with the idea and launched Pop-Up. And I'll let her tell you a little bit more, but it's been really fun to watch that idea become a massive operation that is also poised for expansion if you want to bring it to your market. And I'll let her tell the story and how they pivoted right now and ways that your children can be involved if you need some crafts or activities for good during social distancing. She can give us some ideas about that too. So Laila, take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Holly. You've always been such a good cheerleader and encourager. And I think we should let Tanya say a few words as well. We're kind of in the same ecosystem, and we actually share an office. But yeah, Pop-Up Birthday was an idea I had after serving on a lot of community boards. This was before Foster Angels, but on serving a lot of boards and not just really feeling like I was doing anything, and I was restless. And the same time, I have a family foundation as well, and we were also going through a major pivot. And we had decided to focus on foster care. And that's how I became passionate about that topic and that ecosystem. And as I was going to panels and trying to learn as much as I could about it, I happened to see Sarah Smith, who's the co-founder of Foster Angels, speak, and I was hooked. And so I did some third-party events for her at my house. I would go to their luncheon. I pretty much asked to be on the board, and this was a little bit before Tanya's time. And at the same time, it struck me that I had a knack for doing kids' birthday parties, and I could just do them pretty quickly on the fly. I could see the vision. Friends would come and say, how did I have fun at your 2-year-old's birthday party? It's just something I really loved. So I had kind of honed in through parenting. That was one of the things that brought me joy with 3 boys, was doing their birthdays. And so it literally, a light bulb, a calling, what have you, went off one day that I should do birthday parties for foster kids. And the idea wouldn't leave me, and I would wake up in the middle of the night and think about it. And my sweet sister helped me make the logo that we still use today, and we came up with the name. Then I got the website, and it just, like I said, wouldn't leave me. It was just this burning passion in my belly. And it took me years, and it wasn't until I asked to be on the Foster Angels board that I was talking to them, and they said, you know what, you should just present this to Ted Oakley, who's the founder of Foster Angels, and see what he says, and come up with a prototype. And that's what I did. And honestly, the prototype, it's so similar to what we have today. It is pretty much a plastic bin that you would find at Target or Walmart. And it is full to the brim with everything a foster family, a caregiver, a treatment center, a home would need to celebrate that child, kind of in the way that we celebrate our own children. I mean, we really want these kids to know that they are loved and special and seen. And so we find out their name, their age, their wishes, their desires. And we put together a very generous, personalized, curated box. And it's all packaged in this cute bin that once you put a topper on it and all of our stickers and details, man, it feels really special. It's like that Stitch Fix or that, whatever Fab Fit box that you would get on a month. It's like that. It's really special. And so I presented it to Ted Oakley, and he just said, yeah, you got to do this. We're going to help you at Foster Angels. They paid for my first 10 boxes, which it was just so nice to get that confirmation, that leap of faith, that encouragement. They connected me with CPS. They helped me with my first continue to help us with our deliveries. Even to this day, we really help each other out with that. and really just helped me get it off the ground. And by the 7th box, I remember Ted called and just said, gosh, this is working, this is happening, we gotta go for it. And so, yeah, that's kind of how it all started. It was literally, and I guess I share that because I know all of you are fabulous women, and you've had those bellies and those ideas in your belly. So here we are 5 years later, and we've celebrated over 3,700 children with that really personalized box. I mean, like I said, it includes everything. It's very generous. And when, last year we had our first gala, and it was a magical night, and it was more successful than I could have dreamed of. Although I did put it out in the universe of how much I wanted to raise, and we did it. But truly, it was a magical night. And we were we got a new board. We have a new board of 11, and really just getting really professional and growing and ready for that next step, that scaling. And that's where we were at. And in fact, we had our April board meeting last night, and it was supposed to look much different, right? It was supposed to be a lot of budget talks and finalizing gala details. And it all flipped a switch. It all went upside down in 2 weeks. The good thing about Pop-Up is we have one staff member, we have one intern, and so I'm a volunteer ED, and my priority as ED was to make sure that they continue to be paid. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have to cut them, and what could we do? And so we pivoted, and we went internal, and we decided to look at what we have on hand, and we updated our request form, and we said, the thing is, we still have like 20 themes on hand. So we listed those themes of what we have that we could put together without having to go shopping. We still give them the option of really asking for a gift request. We're just asking that they maybe be smaller and containable in the mailing box. But the first resource is to use what we have on hand. And I have to tell you, caseworkers, CASA, they were just shocked that we were still open. They're like, wait, what? You're going to keep doing this? And so as long as we can, we are, right? I mean, that's one thing, is birthdays don't stop. I've already had 2 birthdays in my household during quarantine, and they do look different, and it was on Zoom, and it was a homemade cake and all that. But so especially for these kids who are already so troubled, and maybe now in quarantine living with a family they don't know well, and that family is probably at a higher level of stress than normal. And a lot of times our families that we serve are they're probably even more stressed out, and the risk factors there are even bigger. So the fact that we could still come in and help them celebrate the child in their home and just give their whole family a moment of relief in this crisis, we're just over the moon that we can do that. And the feedback we've gotten from case workers has been phenomenal. They're just really like touched that we're still doing it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm just talking.
No. You're doing an amazing job of painting the vision. So what's fascinating about the group that's on here is Kenise is actually on the Partnerships for Children board, or maybe just rolled off, I'm not sure. Tanya's with Foster Angels. Holly, is very involved with CASA. But there's some really cool nuances. Like, yes, what I love about Pop-Up is that the child gets a personalized birthday experience, when for most of their life, they've just been looped in with the masses. But there's some nuances that are important to the reality of their everyday. So can you actually talk about what it means, what does the bin look like, and why that's so important?
Yeah, I mean, I have them in my house, right?
I love the visual, and it makes me cry every time.
Yeah, well, this is an empty one, but it's literally just the $5 Sterilite bin that you get at Target or Walmart. And we fill it to the brim with everything. But the bin was a happy accident. It was that first meeting with Ted that I knew I needed to have a prototype together. And I happened to have one of those at home, like all moms probably do. And I happened to have a lot of supplies because that's what I do. And I put together this box, but we very quickly realized that the box itself, that $5 bin, is really a gift to the family. We immediately heard like, wait, do I get to keep that? Like that's, I mean, the ribbon topper, first of all, the kids love it off the top. They can't believe they get to keep that. But the bin itself, the foster families are really touched that it's a really meaningful part. Like the part that we're kind of embarrassed by, the sterilite, that actually is very meaningful. The child can use it for toy storage in their room. I heard from one foster mom that she had learned through training, and she was fairly new, that the first night you receive a child, you should put their stuff in a plastic bin near them so they can see it. They still know it's there, but you're just protecting yourself from maybe bed bugs or anything that might come with it until you really have a chance to wash it. So, I mean, there's just these really weird implications that they can be used for. And then honestly, if a child has to move to a new placement, they can move with dignity. They're not moving in a trash bag. They're not moving in a pillowcase or anything like that. They have something that has their name all over it that they can use to hopefully take as much as they can with them should they have to move. So the boxes happen to be a really happy accident and something that we just haven't been able to get rid of. We've looked and explored at other options, but it really is just so dang practical on our end and on the foster family's end. So that's the bin story.
I love the bin story. Can I ask you another question? I'm just going to bombard you with questions. So whenever you look at putting together an entire bin with all the birthday supplies, on average, what is the expense for that? I know it fluctuates by theme, by age of child, or that child's specific request, but what does that typically look like per bin?
It really adds up quickly, and at retail,
it's a bunch of parents other than me. They all know that.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. Our bins at retail or the whole complete package is $200, honestly, because you end up spending about $100 on the party supplies. And that's all the plates and decorations and banner and tablecloth. That's the party activity. That's the goodie bags, the snacks, the drinks. That includes the candles, the balloons, and then a $15 gift card to HEB. In the typical boxes. In the COVID boxes, that's one of the things we've adjusted because we heard parents couldn't get to HEB and that cakes weren't being made, or we just heard that it wasn't practical. So during COVID-19, we're doing cake mix and icing. And that has actually helped offset the cost of shipping. So we're really keeping our costs fairly, break even, and using, like I said, resources on hand, all the in-kind donations that we received before this. So that has really helped. So I don't know. And then the other 100 is really the gift package. For teens, we probably splurge a little bit more on gifts. They want the $100, tennis shoes, or we try to give them, some help to get a cell phone. For the little kids, it's the Legos, which are like $30 to $50, right? And they're very specific about the Lego set that they want, and we make that happen. We give every child not only just that gift for fun, we give them a gift for need. So every child will get usually a pair of pajamas, a new outfit, diapers or wipes if that's what they need. Something that they really need, may not be as fun, but that they need, and we still wrap it to make it fun. And then every child gets a gift to read. So they get a new book that age appropriate and hopefully matches the theme, but whatever they ask for. And so they really end up getting these 3 beautifully wrapped gifts on top of the whole party package that you just have to open up and set up. And so, yeah, that's why it ends up costing that. And sometimes you'd be shocked. Some donors are like, ooh, that's a lot. But then you throw your own kid's birthday party, and before you know it, at least in our area, it's $500, $1,000. I know just in quarantine, I spent money sending cakes to all my kids' friends so that we could have a virtual cake cutting. And, that added up. Before I knew it, I was like, oh, well, that was $150. Wow. Okay. I should have donated $150 back to pop up. And so that's one of the solutions I was going to offer up to y'all today that you could do during quarantine.
Yeah. Well, so that's, first of all, I'm asking a ton of questions because I'm very obsessed with this theme or this nonprofit. I think this is supposed to be collaborative and a conversation. Does anyone else have questions about the actual logistics? I mean, many of you are in different communities where this could actually be something that could scale to your communities. Does anyone have any questions? And then I want to talk about what you're doing right now and how some of the children of these awesome parents could help you right now.
I have a question from Portland. I don't know, Holly, if you know this, but we have a group home now in Portland. And a
She's
lot of
from
these
Portland,
kids are,
Texas.
sorry, Portland,
That's
where
where
we all
from.
grew up. You don't typically think of Portland being that type of community, but there is now one home, and there are a lot of like junior high and high school kids there. Do y'all branch out of outside of your area, or how would we be able to do something like that down here?
No, that's a great question. Because we piggybacked with Foster Angels in the beginning, they actually serve Region 7. So
They
Texas
started in Corpus.
Okay.
into like 8 regions, whatever. So anyways, we cover 30 counties. And I don't know, where is Portland? What does that,
Right outside of Corpus.
Yeah.
Okay. Tanya unmuted herself. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that we don't have pop-up, but we have a Foster Angels down there, and they do birthday
Okay.
some of them. So I could totally connect you to the program director down there.
Yeah.
That would be great, because we have been doing a lot of donations and stuff to the group home in Portland. And because of privacy issues, I mean, it's not like we could just go put it on the Portland Facebook and say, hey, like,
Right.
but that would be great, because I think that'd be something really good, because both of my kids have come home and made friends with children living there, not realizing like their situation, but I would like to do what we can to try to help them.
And
Absolutely.
actually, if you wanted to create pop-up birthday in Portland, Texas, we could help you do that with the
think
help
that
of
would be
Foster
amazing.
Angels and Laila, I am sure.
Yeah, so that's one of the silver linings of and we were talking about that earlier with the first crowd that was logged on, is to pivot. We, like I said, are using existing resources, and we're now shipping our boxes. So now that we've kind of learned the ins and outs of that, Ashley, I don't see why we couldn't start shipping down to Corpus. We have sent some of our mini boxes down to Foster Angels that they can use and give to caseworkers in a pinch. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be one of the beauties that comes out of this is the ability to be more nimble and ship, and maybe that's how we can scale throughout Texas. So
I go to Rockport pretty frequently, so if you ever need something to go to Portland, just let me know.
awesome.
I'm going Friday.
And actually, just so you know, I mean, other communities, they do put it on Facebook. You just put the child's,
Okay.
it's one way it could be done, right? You could say, hey guys, I mean, that's how a lot of this starts, is just with social media, and you have to get your network that way. I mean, that's how we did a lot of our fundraising just to start, is social media and friends and family. And then you start grants, and then you start doing galas and that sort of thing. But yeah, it just takes that one leap of faith to get it going. And getting the community to be the village behind you, right? People want that. That's one of the things we're actually missing right now, is we have this amazing group of volunteers that come in every week, and it's their social hour on top of volunteer hour. And they're really all missing that. So we're actually gonna have a volunteer happy hour here soon, just to get that camaraderie, because we all miss it.
Man, I love the idea. And at the high school, I teach at a Title I high school. So, I mean, we've got kids that don't even have running water. So I know that we have a lot of foster kids at our high school too. I'm not necessarily aware of which ones they exactly are, and they may not be in my class, but I think to be able to do something like this in South Texas would mean a world of difference for a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
Holly, what were you about to say?
Well, I was going to say, I think one of the things why Laila and Papa Birthday has been so successful is because they do have an age and a theme. And so when we did Mace's, he was into Minecraft at the time. So he was so happy to see that there was a kid who wanted Minecraft. And I know friends who they let their daughters pick out which one they do, and they pick the princess one or whatever. And I think that piece, rather than just saying, hey, do you want to donate for a birthday box? It's saying, hey, do you want to create something that a child, would like, that you can relate to? And so I think that, has been so successful. That was so smart to do it that way, of really personalizing it. Because I think the donors then feel more connected to it. And I think we've all appreciated that. Thank you.
Well, I also just messaged Ashley, 7 of the people on the Zoom. Do you know my mom? I'm like, Ashley, you and my mom and her friends need to get together and conquer this. And my mom knows Ted. I'm like, how do we make this happen?
Yeah.
Ashley, what other questions do y'all have? Holly, I think that's a great point about creating that experience. I mean, not that I have children, but I'm very close to Mace, Holly's son. Like creating that experience where it's relatable. I mean, Mace is also a really special kid where he's a philanthropist.
Right.
What else, Laila, with social distancing, I know that you were needing birthday cards. for kids to make birthday cards. I know that's something that's important. What kind of describes some of those personal touches that are important to put in the box that we could be doing right now with children that are at home?
Well, one of the strengths of pop-up, or one of the things that makes it very attractive, is that we are a very hands-on volunteer opportunity, right? But all that can't be done right now. So we were like, well, shoot, I know people still want to help us. So how can they be involved? And honestly, one of the most touching pieces of what we do, especially for volunteers or folks like Holly and Mace that did this at home, is that we do ask you to write a personalized note to that child. And that's the hardest part. You're finally putting pen to paper and writing something from your heart and just writing that kid's name, right? Honestly, I can't tell you, every volunteer, the first few times, they just kind of look up at us and they say, wait, what do I say? And we always, have a cute little gimmick to get them started, and then it flows from the heart. And when I was doing these by myself the first year or so in my house, I would remember I would pick one night and I would have like the 10 or 14 kids, because at the time we would do 10 or 14 a month. We're now up to 80 or 100. And I would kind of almost pray or meditate on them and just hope that the words would come out, and they would, and I would write every note. And as we would do the second birthday or the third birthday for that same child, I really got to know them, and I would, write a message. And that's something that we've heard from the kids is like, oh my gosh, it's you again, or they recognize our names or whatever. So those cards are really meaningful, and they're usually the last step, and you kind of think it's just the last throwaway piece or whatever, but it's not. It's really special. It's really their name in paper, you putting a piece of your heart out there. And so while we don't have names to give you or, anything like that, it's something that you could do really special with your kids. Explain what foster care is as best as you can, that this is our kids that are in a safe home. They're in an unsafe home living with people that are going to keep them safe while their parents work to fix their problems. That's the goal, right? We want the families to get back together. And so for the time being, they're living in a safe place until their parents can get help. And they might be scared, and they might not have their friends with them. And so this is your chance to celebrate them and tell them that you're there for them and give them a card. That's a quick way to explain foster care to kids. Got some samples. These were from a 5th grader, and she really took her time. And her mom said it took her about half an hour to an hour for each card. She would really drew Spider-Man carefully. We've given away a lot of her cards already. I just tried to save some of them, but she did these like cool pop outs. So, as a parent, it's a good 10, 15 minutes. She did a cute little cat and wrote, "Hope your birthday's perfect." And it, you can touch and feel it. So really you can get creative with your kiddos, and maybe just make it a goal to make 5 cards for pop-up and buy yourself an afternoon and a meaningful activity, and just pop them in the mail to us, and we'll personalize them and get them out in the upcoming boxes. So that's something kind of crafty and fun in a way that we're trying to stay engaged with our volunteers. But yes, my program director, Christy, sweet thing, is pretty much running the ship, the program on her own. She's going to the office by herself and still getting all the boxes shipped out. So she shipped out 23 last week. She's got 15 this week, and she's doing it, like I said, all by herself. And they're still coming. So she's going to take time this weekend to update our sign up calendar, and she's going to put up real requests that you can go and look at. And the way she's modified it for COVID-19 is that she's created Target registries. We found Target to be the place where we can still get a lot of stuff and toys shipped to us. Amazon's not really working for us right now, or it's very delayed. And so she's creating these individual Target registries for each child, so you can click on and pick what you want and get them shipped to us. So a little bit different. You're not going out and shopping at Walmart and Target, which is fun with your kids. It takes an hour or two one afternoon, but you can still sit down. Everything's virtual these days, and kind of walk through what you're going on. You'll see the kid's name, their age, their story, and you'll get to know that you ship that birthday straight to them. It'll actually come to us. We'll package it, make it real cute, but it'll get to their doorstep. So that's one way you can still help us. That's an in-kind donation. And then also just monetary donation, guys. Like all nonprofits, all small businesses, we have some reserves from our successful gala at the end of last year, but we were hoping not to have to dip into them, right? We're starting at ground zero in January with fundraising, and we're behind, and we have to keep payroll going, and we have to keep the birthdays going. They don't stop, and we don't want to stop. I mean, if anything, more than ever now, I think we need that birthday joy, especially if you experience a birthday during quarantine. Just imagine what it would be for a child in foster care.
What other questions do y'all have?
So we have a very similar organization called Happy Birthdays, where we provide birthdays in a box for homeless and foster care. We're kind of in the same pickle with, we had to cancel our fundraiser. How are you? It's terrible. And right now I tried putting out a press release to the media, but really there's just so many businesses that are about to go under that's what they're focused on right now. What are y'all finding in all your, it doesn't have to be just this organization. What successes are y'all finding with fundraising right now when everybody's afraid of losing their jobs?
Gosh, Holly, the other Holly and I just had a conversation with Casa last week because Holly chaired Casablanca this year, we chaired it the year before. We're setting the new team up for success. And right now we're focused on more immediate needs of what the families need versus the actual dollars to the organization. Holly, do you want to elaborate on that? I feel like you always voice these things better than I do. And I think Tanya can share a lot on this, insights on this as well. You're muted.
I'll let Tanya take it. I mean, I think it's the same thing that everybody's facing, but you have to stay focused on what's doable and
So basically we took a Facebook message that was what families with foster children, and I think as I look through who's on the Zoom right now, people that are strongly tied to this cause, and we just said like, hey, they need Target gift cards, they need these things, because the need's not going away, yet people aren't inclined to be able to give as much because of what's happening in the economy. Tanya, add.
Yeah, well, Brittany, hey, we've actually seen some success with Foster Angels mission. It's kind of twofold. It's basic needs first. And so with COVID-19, our mission continues to be important in making sure that we've got kids' basic needs met, specifically really around food and housing. We work with a lot of youth that are aging out of foster care. And so we've had to really step in and help them with dorm rooms closing and losing their jobs, or we've had to step in and pay for rent. And so we have a lot of real requests, and kind of like Pop-Up Birthday as well. Laila has real stories of real kids that are having birthdays and those moments that they want to celebrate and share. And so we're able to share that information, not obviously for the privacy of the children, their names and their photos, but share the real stories that we're currently getting emailed daily. And so we've been sharing those. We actually set up a separate COVID-19 request page that actually shows different requests, and I can try to see if I can share it here. But and then that way you can kind of really look at those and see those individual needs and really feel like Pop-Up too, like you can really make a difference in that one child or that one specific thing that you're needing, and you kind of feel more tied to it.
Yeah, we have the same issue with the privacy. So I've been using a lot of stock photos to try, go that route, but it's just hard. I mean, right now it's hard to convince people. Because we've got the same situation where you got to keep the rent paid and the bills paid and that sort of thing just to get through this. And we were also on a shoestring budget. Hey, Julia, speaking of happy birthdays. We were on a shoestring budget before, and it's just hard to convince folks that something that is not an absolute need is also worth investing in. So
I'm really hoping that
your
during this
challenge
time,
there.
I do think we talked about earlier in the call that this is gonna be a time where these things ways that we're pivoting, we're gonna really learn a lot of efficiencies and a lot of things that maybe we'll be able to carry on. And I really hope that, especially in Austin and in our nonprofit scene, that this is a chance for nonprofits that will actually come together, that we will collaborate, that we will talk, and there might be some consolidation that will come of it that I think would be so beneficial in the long run and needed to probably have been done before it. So there's just, I think, a lot of, I don't know. So I don't know if you applied for the PPP SBA loan, Brittany. We've submitted that. I don't know if our bank has actually quite submitted it, but hopefully that.
Does that apply for nonprofits too? I thought it was just businesses.
No, for nonprofits
Okay.
too. Well, we just got that in. We use American Bank, but I don't know. Tanya, have you had any luck?
I know that they, I don't think that the window has officially opened for them to be able to submit. Excuse me, sorry, I got something in my throat. I just heard from our bank this afternoon that they're still going through all the processes, but everything's in that they have. So hopefully, but Brittany, y'all should definitely look at that because it is available for nonprofits.
Have you guys done the EIDL? How about that? I don't know, Tanya, have you?
I've been researching that one. I was trying to prioritize on getting the PPP since it will help with payroll first, and then the EIDL. If anybody else has kind of looked at that, it definitely would be more of a loan, which you would have to pay back. But there's what I have understood from the bank is that essentially, even if you apply and you don't get it, you would kind of get like this $10,000
grant. Mm-hmm.
And so whether you use the loan or not, it sounds like you can still get this extra money that you could use however you need it. So that could be a possibility for y'all to look at that application. I haven't looked at it in depth, but happy to look at it and then.
It's funny. I've been sending out information about this to businesses because we do disaster recovery. Now we're not doing COVID-19 stuff, but I've been sending this out. I had no idea it applied to us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at it for the Junior League, Brittany.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, last night at our board meeting, one of our board members serves on a much larger board of a national nonprofit, and he just gave some really nice closing remarks that said, even they at the national level are, they're canceling all their events and they're having to go virtual and they're just as worried. So the fact that small nonprofits like us, like Happy Birthdays, are even aware and talking about it, that we really do need to give ourselves grace and kudos for that, because it is going to be a crazy landscape for who knows how long, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and you know what?
I was on a different.
I just realized that we're having a really meaningful brainstorm because there's a lot of nonprofit leaders on here. So I'm going to stop recording.